Good evening and welcome to another New Hanover County Schools Future Ready Learning Series. Tonight we are so honored to welcome Miss Abbey Futrell to our learning opportunity today. Abbey, we are so excited to have you. Join us. I'm going to turn it right over to you so we don't waste any time on me.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm excited and nervous. Jennifer always pressures me to do things that are out of my comfort zone. But I'm happy to be here today, and I am ecstatic to see how many people are committed to being here on a Thursday, and it's almost June, and it's close to testing. So definitely a huge round of applause to everyone in that room. Am I a stranger to anybody in there? Show of hands.
I don't think anybody in here except for Lisa has met you before, is that right? Oh, I'm sorry, except for Jeannie and Melissa also. You've got 3 BFFs in the room, and everyone else is just like, who is that lady?
Oh, good. Okay, good. Then, okay, don't, the 3 who are already in there, don't taint my reputation, okay? Let them think that I'm a good person. Let's see, what can I tell you? I'll tell you the important stuff. I didn't start out in education. How about that? After many, a wide variety of crazy jobs, everything stemming from selling cemetery plots on the phone to working at Walmart to computer network and repair. From being a paralegal, I kind of slid into education and taught middle school for a year, and then I quit because who wants to teach middle school, right? They convinced me to come back. I came back to the high school and fell in love, taught high school. I was a tech facilitator. I was an instructional coach. I was a PD consultant for DPI, and now I'm with the Friday Institute, where I'm a digital innovation coach, and I absolutely love the work that I get to do there with teachers and educators, not only across the state, but across the country. So that's been a blessing as well. I do have 2 degrees. The second one is in administration. So now that I have that degree, maybe I can open my own restaurant later. Okay. All right. So those are my credentials. I don't have anything else you should know. I am the mother of Jennifer's pretend grandson, Michael. And I have a beautiful daughter, JLE, who will be attending Howard in the fall for her master's in occupational therapy. And I have 1 pretend grandbaby because I don't think my children will ever have children. So I just stole my daughter's best friend's baby. So other than that, I guess we can get started today. Hopefully I'm going to share something new, but when I talked to Jennifer about what do you want me to do, what should I do, she just wanted me to kind of pick some things that were near and dear to me in the time span that we had. So I know I wanted to definitely do something with literacy and reading, because I did used to be an ELA teacher. I won't say used to be. I am still an ELA teacher. So literacy and making sure that students have all the supports that they need in place for reading is very important to me. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen here. And if I am showing you something you already know about, just take a little nap till I come back around to something that you have not seen.
Look how cute y'all look on Abby's screen. Look at Abby, that's crazy.
Why is it doing all those screens? All right, let's try one more time.
You gotta hit whatever the other option is when you go to present, when you go to share your screen. There's 2 options, I think.
Yes, you want me to do the second one?
Okay, try that. No, that's not working.
All right, let's try the other one.
It's like Star Wars or something, like something crazy's happening.
All right, let's try this one. Only today.
I'm going to try sharing mine and see. Okay, you see when you hit application window?
Yes.
Then click on the one that's like live events or whatever this, like you have your entire screen or applications window. I think you click applications window and then the second one of those, and that lets you show whatever is happening. See what I mean?
See, it doesn't, when I do application window, it does the same thing.
All right, then try, but do you have 2 events? Do you have 2 options in sharing the application window? When you hit share screen, and click application window. Do you have two options there, or you just have one?
I have Google Hangouts, and then I have Scanner, which is something that I scanned earlier. So let me close it out. Maybe that's what's throwing it off because I've got these two other windows open.
Click whatever says Scanner, and then that should be your desk. That should be your like desktop. So you should be able to then select something different.
Okay. Yeah, that's doing the same thing.
Okay, and you've tried your entire screen, right?
Yes, that's the one I did at first, but let me go back and do it again. Yep,
Yeah,
that's
that's what's working for me if I hit the Scanner one.
Let me go back and try. I don't think I have anything else open.
The other thing you could do for us, Abby, well, no, that wouldn't. Is it a Google presentation?
Yes, it is.
Send me the link in email. I'll open it up here, and well, no, because you won't be presenting. You won't be. It's open on your computer now, isn't it?
Yes, it's right here in the tab.
All right, so
okay. Let me this way. Let me try it this way. Application window still only gives me the option of Google Hangout.
That's the only option you have?
Yes.
Okay, do this for me. And
what if I put my Google Hangout in a new, like I have it in the same tab as my other presentations? What should I pull it out?
Try that and then see if that other tab appears as an option.
Okay. All right. I just pulled it out. Watch that be it.
Yeah, we can see you sharing your screen now.
Okay.
There it is. Yeah, yeah, there you go. There we go. Can you open it in another tab there? You have the Hangout?
That's
or not Hangout, but the presentation.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it over.
We're not used to this kind of thing because technology always works perfectly in New Hanover.
Always works. It would only do this on my debut session.
There we go, Abby. That's it.
Okay, we can see it now?
Yes. Can you make it full screen for us?
Yeah, it's loading. Give it just a second. I don't have all the fancy equipment they have in that rich, exclusive New Hanover County.
Yes. Just click the present. Yeah, there you go. You got it. You got it.
Okay. All right. So there, the link to today's presentation is at the top if you want to view this. And then when you get home, if you want to make a copy of kind of what I'm going over today, you can just make a copy right here. And then during the course of the presentation, if you have any questions, you can ask me questions right there. So I'm gonna leave that up for just a half second, give you a minute. If you'll write down the bit.ly address at the top, bit.ly/GHO Abbey.
I'm gonna write it down on the board form too, Abby.
Okay, and then once you have it, Jennifer, I'll move on.
All right, I gotta find the marker. Hang on. All right, we got it.
Okay, good to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So like I said, I knew I wanted to talk about a technology that would support reading and literacy. So just show of hands, do we have anybody in the room who's using Actively Learn? Jennifer, what's the count, Jennifer?
One hand is on up. We have a badge for Actively Learn, guys. The awesome badge. Go ahead, Gabby.
All right, but it is absolutely, and I'm not very tool-centric, but when it comes to literacy and reading, Actively Learn has gone above and beyond, proving itself to be a great support piece for that. And so it's kept in mind the following frameworks: that we want to keep the goal of reading to be joyful for students, and we want them to be engaged with the reading. And we also, at the same time, we need to make sure that they understand what they're reading and that they are motivated to read. So if we look at strategies that we use, annotating text, chunking text, collaboration in our reading, feedback, providing background knowledge, filling gaps, giving them resources like a dictionary, if text needs to be translated, if you have text to speech. Believe it or not, all of those features are wrapped up into one product, and that is called Actively Learn. So the features that I'm going to talk about today of Actively Learn are free, because I'm a huge proponent of anything that's free 99 or less. So I'm not showing you any paid features. And I do know the staff of Actively Learn personally. When I first heard about Actively Learn, it was one of those, this is too good to be true. And so I sent an email and I was like, look, I'm tired of showing teachers these great products. And then once we get hooked, you go back and you charge $49.99 for them, and then you can't use them anymore. Will you promise me that these features which you're advertising will remain free? And so Scott emailed me back and he said, I promise you, the features that you're enjoying right now will remain free. Well, I told him that was great that I had it in an email, because if he reneged, I was going to sue him. And so that was the start of a great friendship for both of us. But they have been true to their word and have not only honored the free features, but they continue to add features that they do not charge for. So I like that part about it. So right here, what you have is you have a screenshot from Actively Learn. So the way Actively Learn works is you may take text from their catalog, or you may insert your own text from a Google Doc, a web page, or a PDF document into Actively Learn. Now, the restrictions of the free version say that you are afforded 3 uploads per month of your own. You can take out of the catalog the most commonly used text, all you want, but when it comes to customized text, your own text, which would be a web page, a Google Doc, or a PDF, you're only afforded 3 of those, okay? Now, I'm not telling you how to work around that, but if you partner with the teacher, develop an Actively Learn lesson, you can share that lesson with her or him, and it does not count towards your quota of customized text. So, and then if you think about, I don't put, when I'm working with students and teachers, we don't put everything that we're going to read or discuss or annotate or dissect in Actively Learn. So it's generally a modeling tool, right? It's a modeling tool. It's an assessment piece. It is a remediation piece also. And so it's not like all of a sudden every single thing students read on now on a device or on a screen. Like, I don't even function that way. If I have text for work, then I prefer to have it on an audiobook. If I'm reading for enjoyment, I prefer to have the paper text, right? And then anything in between, I'm not really particular about whether or not it's online. If I'm reading the news, it's online. If it's a blog post, of course, it's online. Short readings, I don't mind doing those online. So we all have our preferences when it comes to reading. But this is what the interface looks like. So the first thing that you'll notice is, number one, over here in the right-hand side, you will see a notes panel. So whatever text you put in Actively Learn, where you have the highlighted text in the bulk of the of your reading, on the right-hand side in the notes section, you can add notes to provide better understanding, to provide background knowledge. So for example, I was working with a teacher, we were doing a letter from a Birmingham jail. It's one of my favorites. And so we started in the notes section, putting things like a recreated photo of Martin Luther King's jail cell, right? Because we want students to really understand the difference between writing a letter from this jail cell in these conditions and then sitting at your desk and writing a friendly letter, which they may not know what that's like anyway, because I don't know if students even write letters anymore, but that's neither here nor there. So we were not only able to insert a photo, you'll notice here you can also insert a video. So if that video can provide background knowledge for students, you can also insert the video in the notes section. Now, anything that's in the notes section, there's an arrow right here. So if it's a question, students can respond to it similar to a discussion post. So it's not assessed. It's just sort of, you're asking a question to just kind of get them motivated and going and engaged in it. So anything in the note section on the right-hand side is not going to be for assessment. Now, this black box that you see at the bottom here, that's called a question block. And those question blocks are placed above, below where the answer to the questions would be, right? So you're chunking the text for students so that they're more successful in answering questions based on what you wanted them to know. So if I'm a student and I get to this question block, I know the answer has to be somewhere up in here, or it should be. A customized feature of Actively Learn is I can set these text boxes so that they don't see additional text until they answer this question. So in the true sense of chunking, they're not scrolling through and automatically becoming overwhelmed by how many pages of electronic text are here. Because you see there's not a lot of space, so a simple one-page text might appear to a student online to just go on and on and on for 5 or 6 pages. But with the question blocking option, you can present pieces of text. Once they answer the question, the next chunk of text becomes available. Another feature in Actively Learn. So you have the option to create these notes by highlighting. And you can also have the highlighting tied to categories that promote metacognition, if you would like. Now, I'm the queen of flipping, right? So my favorite show is Flea Market Flip. I don't know if anyone watches Flea Market Flip. I can't see anyone's face and it's driving me crazy. Because I'm having
all night. Watch Flea Market Flip.
Yes, right. So, you know, like we had to move into a small place for a little bit until we move into our house. So I really need a dresser, but there's not really space for a dresser and my end of bed bench. I like to sit on the bench, put my socks on, put my lotion on, but I also need a dresser, right? So I was flipping through Flea Market Flip's website, and lo and behold, someone had taken a dresser and turned it into a bench dresser, right? So I'll take something that's intended, and I encourage the teachers I work with to do the same thing. Just because it's presented to be used this way, think about what other way you could use it. So although you're more than welcome to use the categories if they're helpful for you, especially if you're trying to double check what standards you are covering, that's great. But I'll also use the highlighted text for other to mean other things. What you can't see is if you scroll down, you can also set your own categories, so you don't have to stick to these. But if you're trying to differentiate the text, then I might say to some students, I need for you to focus on the purple notes. And then for another set of students, I may say, I need you to focus on the blue notes, right? So even though I think that's a great use, you can also use those different colors for other purposes. And we've already talked about how the question blocks will stop the reader so that they can answer the text. Answer the question, and then not have to worry about tons and tons of text and feeling overwhelmed. Okay, so with the question blocks, you have 2 options. Students can answer discussion posts or question blocks, and other students are able to view, or you can keep them private. That is a setting that you have control over in your control panel. And then they've also, if students really like other students' answers, they can simply like them. And I do like the fact that they don't have a dislike button, but they do have a like button, which may be encouraging for students when they're answering questions. Okay, next. Of the features in Actively Learn for students on the student end, on the student side, right? There's an option called I do not understand. So if students highlight in the text where they do not understand and click the I do not understand button, you as a teacher would get a notification at the top of your screen, right? Now, what I really like about Actively Learn is they will then ask the student, can you tell me a little bit about what you don't understand so that I can help your teacher help you when she reads this alarm. Well, it doesn't say that, but in essence, it will ask them to just kind of think about what you don't understand and try to put it into words. So that probably saves you a lot of time with a frustrated student who, when you ask them what is it that they don't understand, they just say, well, this is just a stupid text. I don't know if you've ever had that with a frustrated reader, but you try to get to the heart of what they're not understanding, and they're so frustrated, they can't really articulate that into words. In addition to, let me go back. In addition to identity and understand, if students highlight text, they can also have the text read to them. So any text that is highlighted is automatically read to them. So if they need the entire text highlighted, the entire text is read. If they only need a sentence, that sentence is read. If it's a paragraph, then only that paragraph is read. So if you're in a situation where students have headphones, students who need that type of accommodation and assistance aren't embarrassed by needing that because no one knows that they're using it. So I like the fact that those types of accommodations are placed in the hands of students and not simply determined by an IEP or it's automatically assumed that a student who's doing well may not need certain accommodations. While we're talking about accommodations, Actively Learn comes with a dyslexic font, and that is an option that students have access to and can control. They can also change the size of the font. They can also change the background color of the page for students who need that focus accommodation. If you need translation, Actively Learn currently translates in over 21 languages, and that's not a paid feature that comes with the free version of Actively Learn. So translation in over 21 languages is readily available. Now, when we talk about the question blocks and the notes, one of the positive aspects of Actively Learn is that students aren't distracted from reading to access these resources. So they don't have to start reading to look down at their paper, to look at the question, and then go back and try to pick up where they left off reading and try to find the answer to the question. So it reduces the number of distractions in reading by having everything in the same window pane. So for example, if students needed to look up a word, they just simply highlight the word, click the dictionary option, and the definition and the option for them to hear the word pronounced shows up on the same screen. So no more having to go out to dictionary.com or having to go to Google and look up examples or pronunciations of words. That's available in Actively Learn as well. So we've talked about collaborative element with notes discussion or question discussion, features for students. We talked about inserting background materials that will assist with helping students who lack that prior knowledge to help them better understand the text. And you can also insert videos for instructions. Okay. So if you want them to do something, let's say you had an ed puzzle you wanted them to view before they started reading the text, you can simply insert that in the directions and it becomes their pre-reading, part of their pre-reading activity. And so here's a screenshot of what the dictionary option looks like. So if they click the speaker, it will pronounce the word, and then there are the definitions right there. Now, you have access, as I stated earlier, to materials that are already in the catalog. In addition to the reading materials that are already in the catalog, you also have access to a shared teacher database. So let's say that we're covering Romeo and Juliet. There may be 25 Actively Learned lessons already on Romeo and Juliet. So I can simply import that version into my personal library. And once it becomes mine, I can add or delete what I do and do not want to use. So you don't have to recreate the wheel. You're just kind of making it roll down. So if I find a text that I like, then I can go in and adjust it. And the great thing is, even though you've copied it from another teacher, all of your little notes right there, all of a sudden have your name on them, right? So that's really cool that they give you fake credit for someone else's hard work. All right, and so this was the highlight and take note option. Students have the ability to highlight and put their own notes in the margin. I know some of you are probably too young to remember this, but when I was in college, back in 1980 something, I could never sell my books back to the bookstore because I would just highlight and annotate the daylights out of them. So that's what it kind of reminded me of here. So if students highlight a text or a word or a sentence, then they can simply add their own notes and save those notes. Those notes will be there when they log back in. Again, as a teacher, you have the option of allowing students to share notes or keeping notes private. So generally, I keep student notes private, but I will allow responses to teacher notes to sometimes be shared. All right. So in the catalog is organized by grade level. I often do not recommend that you limit yourself by grade level because what could be fourth grade in Wake County could be sixth grade somewhere else, could be first grade somewhere else, right? So don't limit yourself by filtering materials by grade level, but you can filter materials by genre, and they now have, you can filter materials by units, right? Actively Learn has also secured a partnership with CK12. So they now have science and social studies texts that are amazing, complete with videos, quizzes, interactive websites. Oh, I forgot to tell you about that. You can also hyperlink text to go out to other materials. So as I stated earlier, we were covering Letter from a Birmingham Jail. So in the first couple of sentences, Dr. King says that he is addressing recent statements. So the teacher and I had recent statements linked out to the letter that he is responding to, because that's an important piece of information for students to know if they're trying to process why he's writing this letter. So for them to see the letter that he's responding to just sort of helps them understand the whole purpose and bring home the meaning. And then in addition to your traditional text, they have a complete library of informational texts, generally based on things that are going on in the news, but typically are of greater interest to students if they want to read independently. So students have the option of reading independently. And if they choose articles to read, we'll give them credit for reading the article in their reading logs. So it will log for articles that they have clicked on or read, just so that they can keep up with what they've done as it relates to reading. So the process, how do you get started? ActivelyLearn.com. You simply sign up. It's going to ask for your email and your password. Remember that you get those 3 free uploads a month, which is going to be your Google Doc, your PDF, or the link to a web page. So if you're using Newsela or NewsELA, I don't know which pronunciation you prefer, you can take the link to a Newsela article and put it into Actively Learn, and it will pull the text into Actively Learn. When students sign up, it does not require students to have an email. However, if students do have an email address, they can just log in with their Google sign-on, which is great. If not, Actively Learn gives you a code for each class, and so students would just add each class by adding that teacher's code, right? So they have one login, but they could have 5 or 6 classes. So if Ms. Jones is using it in reading and Ms. Douglas is using it in math, they have one login, but all of those classes are within that one login. So they don't have to have an individual login per teacher. And we have a question. Since media coordinators don't do a lot of direct reading instruction, can you suggest ways we might use it to support teachers? Oh, wow. That's such a good question. I don't process questions really fast, so give me a minute on that one. And Jennifer, can we have the room also pitch in on that one too?
Sure. Guys, what can you think of? Are there ways that you can support teachers who use Actively Learn? Are there things that you can do in the library to incorporate the school?
And I'm thinking in terms of, are there resources in the media that would help them support concepts, or if they're doing any type of thematic reading, or any ancillary experiences or materials that would help prepare them for the text, as if they were reading just a regular paper pencil, maybe.
What did you just say, Lisa?
I was saying that librarians can help teachers provide them with the supplemental material, the links to click on to, like Abby was saying, to go back and see what the actual recent news was.
Did you hear that, Abby?
Yes, that's such a great idea.
So if they could join a class and see what the teacher is teaching, and they could provide links and things like that to additional resources, right?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Yes, you can. Most definitely. Great question, y'all. Great question. All right. So what other questions do we have about admin and learn?
What else, guys? Anything else?
This is one of those times when I wish I was there so I could get you in the class and you could actually kind of play around and see what it's like.
Abby?
Yes.
Do you have more than one teacher per class?
Yes.
So they can collaborate on the lessons together.
You can coach. Yes.
That's cool.
So is this more of a direct teacher instruction piece, or could it be used by teachers to support their students' independent reading program?
It can, good question. It can most definitely be used to support independent reading, because students aren't limiting it to just using it in the classroom, so they can use it at home. So if I think about a text, like for example, I did a text, helped the teacher do a text on immigration. And so if a student was out that day, the way that she has those notes and those resources in that book, it's like she's providing that support that they can keep going back and using and accessing this there, that maybe they won't remember what was said in class if they go home. So if you think about like a text, it has all the homework stuff already in it. Now, if students don't have access at home, you know, that's a different piece. You have to look at it a little differently. So then I would use it for direct instruction, to model annotation or close reading, or, you know, whatever's going to help students read better. But I couldn't exactly expect them to do it at home if they don't have that access. But it's a web-based product, so nothing has to be downloaded or purchased, or no special app. It's just web-based. Works great on mobile phones. It's formatted beautifully for mobile phones now, and works seamlessly on an iPad as well.
So students have the ability to choose topics they want to read about, or would it all be teacher guiding them to a certain piece?
Good question. Under the independent reading tab, students can choose their own reading, but it's limited to informational text. But it's informational text that we most likely be interested in. Like there was a great article on the effects that texting has on your neck. Or
Now again, Abby, I don't know if you can sit a little closer to your mic.
let me see. Yeah, I'm right on top of my computer.
I don't know. You were fading in a little bit. We gotcha. It was a little hard. So did that answer your question, Gretchen?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just say it real quick to them. Do any of you all have students that maybe are at Row? Y'all who, you know what I'm talking about, get sent to one of the alternative placement schools because they're suspended or something? Well, there's students over there. They got to be coming from some schools. So, I mean, you know, I bet everybody here except for Pat has at least one or two students, right, who go over there. So what I might say is that right now, the way that works is they send huge packets of paper and pencil passages for them to read and answer questions on, which I'm sure those children enjoy doing immensely. But, you know, they do have technology over there. They do have access to stuff. this might be a good tool for your teachers who want kids to be able to keep up while they're not here, or maybe you've got a homebound student or something like that. This is also a resource for those kids who are suspended long-term but not at row, but they're going to be out for a week and they do have access. If they have access at home, that's one thing, but at row, they definitely do have access. So,
And then
go ahead, Abby, sorry.
I'm sorry, I forgot the best part is that if you have question block questions, well, not just a question block questions, even if they're responding to notes. Jennifer, am I messing up again?
Yeah.
I am right on top of my laptop. I don't know what it could be. Let me check my settings on my mic while I'm talking. If they answer notes, question in the question block.
Maybe you can back it up a little bit.
Okay, let me try that. Is that better?
We can't tell you have to talk for a little while.
Okay, so if they're answering questions in question blocks or even in the note section, then is that better or worse?
Better.
Okay, good. All right. So if you let's see, sound output. Yeah, I had messed up something when I was trying to hook up my headphones earlier, so maybe that's my fault. So as students enter their responses, you receive those responses in real time. So if it is a question block, there's a built-in rubric. It may say, and you can choose this, you have 4 or 5 options. So it may say your answer is beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So you can tie that to your own rubric credentials. Right? So for an answer to be advanced, it must be this. So as these responses are coming in, you're simply pressing the tab to assess each question, and then that student can stop in the moment and say, wait a minute, this question, I didn't answer this question well, let me go back, versus the typical way, the worksheet way of read this passage, answer all of the questions at the end, for you to get all of them wrong, and then I want you to do what? I want you to reread the passage and do it again. So can you imagine the frustration versus I see that this student is a little off track with the first question. Let me walk over and help them clear this up so they get that in order for them to be successful for the remainder of the reading. Does it make sense?
Yeah, you're breaking up again. I think we heard most of that, but are you using a separate microphone or just your internal mic?
Yeah, I'm sitting right on top of my computer.
But you're using the computer mic, not like a headphone set.
No, not a headphone set, no.
Okay.
You know what, Jennifer? Maybe, hold on.
I'm sorry we're spending so much time on your mic.
I know, I'm mad.
We're doing okay. We're hanging in here. Just keep on, girl.
Yeah, I just moved my, I had my headphones near the computer. I thought maybe that was only interference, but I turned them off.
Okay.
Okay, so you can have
We're hanging in there. You've only got like 20 minutes left, so we want you to keep going.
okay. So any other questions about actively learning before I leave?
No, we're good.
Okay. All right, next. This is another flip, right? So there is, and if you click the note page, I put the link to this Twitter merge spreadsheet. So there is a spreadsheet that can be used for Twitter merging. So if you want to send out a lot of tweets to a lot of different people, you can use this Twitter merge. Is it too bad, Jennifer?
It's okay. We can deal. I think. Can y'all? We're dealing. Abby, you still there? Oh, we lost Abby. Well, Abby, are you there? Let's give her a second to come back. We do definitely have teachers using Actively Learn, and we do have an awesome badge for it, and we've had teachers earn that badge. I would say, Jeannie, correct me if I'm wrong, but there she is. Listen, I was trying to fill in for you and it wasn't working.
Okay, let's see if we can try to do.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a Twitter merge sheet. I'm sharing my screen. Here we go.
There we go.
All right. And it's supposed, now this is that flea market flipping mentality of mine. It's really supposed to be used if you're doing like a Twitter merge. So you want to send, maybe you want to send all of these people an advertisement for your new company. But I thought, okay, we talk a lot about the 4 C's. And I read an article by Jeff Utek a few weeks ago. And he was talking about, you know, we keep looking at the 4 C's, but are we looking at the 4 C's as they should apply to students today, right? So for example, you know, we're talking about communication, but are we teaching students how to communicate today, right? So we talk about collaboration, but are we teaching them how to collaborate today, which we collaborate across space and time? So are students who are in the same school learning how to collaborate with each other using technology, or are you just still centered on collaboration as a group of students sitting at a table? And so a lot of teachers are afraid to sort of step out with a social media presence with students because I don't know what they're going to say. I don't have control over their Twitter accounts. So with this Twitter merge spreadsheet, and if you would like a copy, I put it in the notes link. What happens is under Twitter user, you put your Twitter handle. The student will put their first name, and then under role, they can put student. I don't know why that column is there, but I'm afraid to delete it because I don't know if it'll mess up the script or not. And then where it says tweet content, that's where they put their tweet, 140 characters or less. And so where it says you may not want to exceed your 140 count, I just put a link to a word count to help students understand what 140 characters is, right? So they can click this link and put it in word count and then paste it back here. Now, what happens is when I downloaded the spreadsheet, it comes with a script that says Twitter merge. When I click Twitter merge and I click send, after I've moderated all of the posts, it will post from my account for the student. So the tweets will say, it will be on my account, but it will say, Abbey says, or Jackie says, or Mark says. So students start to have a voice, but for teachers who are afraid to relinquish all of that power to a student account, it's a great first step. Now, I also use it with teachers in PD because we'll do things like tweet this out. And there's some students, there are some teachers who are still afraid to have Twitter, or maybe you just don't like Twitter. Not everybody likes Twitter, and that's perfectly fine. But then we'll say to them, okay, well, you put your comment on today's meet. Well, if you put it on today's meet, that's great, but only the people in the room get to hear what you have to say. So for those teachers who are a little hesitant, I will also let them use the spreadsheet so that their voice is heard too, without them having to immediately tackle and overcome the fear of Twitter. So if you'll just remember, your Twitter account is under Twitter user, and it's going to ask you to authorize your Twitter account. So because you are authorizing your account on your login, a student can't go in and click Twitter merge and just send the tweets out. You're the only one who would have the control over when these tweets go out and which ones go out. So if you see something that's misspelled or inappropriate, you have the opportunity to change that before you click send, and then it's out on Twitter. So if you access that and you decide you want to send a tweet, if you'll fill it in, I will send it out at the end of our session. If not, there is a copy, like I said, on the notes page, and then the example sheet is going to expire at 5:30. But your copy, you can make a copy for as long as you want, as long as you access the notes page. All right, and last but not least, Flippity, which is a flashcard, bingo card, one of those type creators. So I do see value in flashcards. I'm not a big, let's do this flashcard creation activity, okay? So let me see if I can pull up what we did. So if you go to flippity.net, Flippity will give you a template for their flashcard creator. And the template looks like this. Jennifer, can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I had all of these open earlier. Okay. So I was working with the district of ELA. I was working with a district on cognitive rigor questioning, right? So they wanted their teachers to just sort of make more robust the questions that they ask students. So what I had them do was I initially had them think about a question that they would most likely ask a student related to a lesson coming up. So here's a flippity template right here, right? I just told them to ignore these headings right here where it says audio, slide 2. We're not looking at that. I said in slide 1, type a question that you are most likely going to ask a student in the next few days related to something you're going to teach. Right? Everybody had a number because we all know with collaborative documents, if you don't give students a place to go, they're all over the place. So each teacher had a number, right? And so in column A, they typed the first question. Now you don't see the first question. They then exchanged numbers and they had to evaluate each other's question. If it was good, they were to type the word blue. If it needed some work, they were to type the word orange. So once you saw your evaluative color pop up, then you had to go back and change your question to make it a blue question. All right, the second part of the activity was they exchanged numbers again, and you had to identify the revised question according to the category of cognitive rigor questioning that it was, right? Just to make sure we weren't all just kind of hovering in one category. And then we assessed that based on green or red. So if it wasn't quite there, it was a red, and then you had to put a note. So you'll notice on line 11, the evaluator wrote red. Is it argumentative instead of reflective? Because it shows a universal understanding, right? So after we had all of that correct, so we did some creation, we did some identifying, we did assessment. What you end up getting from Flippity on the bottom tab, it will automatically take those questions and turn them into flashcards. So you notice this is what the teachers did to the flashcards. And all they did was enter it into a spreadsheet. So if you think about student use of that, if you're trying to do innovative things with vocabulary, if they have a link to a photo or a link to a YouTube video, you can also include those on the flashcards. So if you think about vocabulary and then you ask students to find a short video clip that represents that vocabulary word, or an image that represents that vocabulary word, and then you can assess how well they know the information just by looking at the spreadsheet. And then as a resource, you can give students the link to the flashcards. Now, in the spreadsheet, where I told you to ignore this top, here, the flashcards can be read to them, and then you can pick what language you want each side of the card read in. So it's great for foreign language teachers as well. So I have English. So when I press the speaker button, then when it reads the flashcards, it will read both in English.
Baudelaire have Tolstoy's The Long Exile and Baudelaire's The Piece of String, Address and Justice.
And it will read both sides of the card. So it is intended to be a flashcard creator. However, I turned it into a way to get teachers to think about the questions that you're asking, and then type of questions, and then assess each other's work and provide feedback all in one document. So I put the link to Flippity on the notes page also, and then you're free to look at this example. Just don't change anything in the first two headings. So don't take side 1 and make it a title, because it's going to mess up the formula of the cards. Okay, so you just kind of have to make your directions clear. On side 1, type this. On side 2, type this. Or in column A, type this. In column B, type this. You don't have to use the card color or the text color. You can't put anything there but colors that will affect the card. So you notice when I showed you the cards, you see what's blue and green? Then the text is green.
The How could
And
you
the other
rework
side
this
is
section?
blue. The card is blue, the text is green. So one is for card color right there, the other's for text color. Okay. So that's all that I have, Jennifer. I just wanted to make sure I showed a little bit about Actively Learn. I want to be there. I don't want to be on this computer. I want to be in the room.
Well, it's not like I don't invite you to come down.
You never invite me.
That's a lie right there. That is a big fat
You
lie.
never invite me. Well, you have to stop having your conference on the day that I got to go somewhere.
Yeah, right. Like we didn't invite you to come to Summer Institute?
You did, but I gotta go out of town.
Yeah, we see how it is. We see how it is. Guys, what kind of questions do you have for Abby?
I'm sorry, my mom. I know that can probably be irritating.
They can hear you. We're okay. What kind of questions, guys?
Is she done so I can go by the store?
What's that?
They want to ask if I'm done so they can go by the store.
On the way home yet? Really, do y'all have anything for Abby, y'all? Okay, they're silent. They're dead silent. Well, thank you, Abby. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right. Woo-hoo! I love you, Abby. Thank you, dear. And I will